Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book that he's read this week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I've read this week is called The Crash by author Robert Peston. It was released as a hardback here in the UK on the 14th of September 2023 and follows on from Peston's previous fiction work, The Whistleblower, which was released in September 2021. Peston, probably better known in the UK as was the BBC's economics and business editor for years, is now ITN, a commercial channel's political editor, well-known journalist, much acclaimed journalist. Has published 4 non-fiction books, which are all well received. But this is Peston's second political thriller. It's his second book of fiction. So, central character, same as The Whistleblower, is a guy called Gil Peck. Gil Peck is the BBC's business editor. Story kicks off with Gil noticing on one of his 2 Blackberries, because he's a cool kid and everybody in 2007 had a Blackberry, noticing that a bank called BM Capital have told their investors that some of the investments called CDOs, collateralized debt obligations, can't be valued. They simply don't know how much these assets are worth. So they're stopping people taking money out and depositing in this particular fund, which sets off a few alarm bells. Gil is keeping an eye on this, and then all of a sudden he gets a tip from one of his former university mates that there's a small bank in the north of England that's facing a cash crisis. They've invested in some dodgy CDOs as well, and they're running out of money. The bank's called, in this book, all the titles of the characters and the banks are fictional, but you know who they're talking about. This company is called Newgate, Newcastle and Gateshead. And Gil obviously, wants to get the scoop, leaks the story. All of a sudden, there's mayhem. It turns out that overnight, people are trying to get online to the Newgate website, and it appears to have been, just overwhelmed by people trying to contact it. Next day, there's a bank run, first bank run in a century in the UK, because everybody's trying to get their money out of Newgate. As you can imagine, this doesn't make Gil a particularly popular person, because a lot of people in the financial services industry are going, hang on a minute, you're causing chaos, you've caused a bank run, it's all about confidence, and if people start thinking that banks can't pay their money back, they'll start withdrawing and we're in a whole world of trouble. So Gil's upset a few people, and it's been made clear to him that, he needs to, be a bit careful here. He speaks to his friend Marilyn, who's a director at the Bank of England, and Marilyn's not only a friend, a former lover, who explains that this Newgate thing is just the tip of the iceberg. It's worse than this. A couple of days later, Marilyn's found dead. She's committed suicide. She's hung herself. Gil doesn't know what to do with himself, because he considers Marilyn a strong person, bright, well-educated, can't see in any way, shape or form how she'd kill herself, and wants to know what's going on. And then the story unfolds with Gil and his friend Jess, who's also a financial journalist, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on here, because he thinks that the death of Marilyn is related to the Newgate drama. And also, clearly, if Newgate, a small bank, is having financial problems, then some of the bigger banks are having problems as well. And then we have a whole cast of characters. We have Tory politicians who are clearly happy for this to happen because they want to get back in power, and they can dump a recession, a crash onto the incumbent Labour government. We have a newspaper magnate whose main paper is called The Globe in this story, who's trying to manipulate things. We have PR people who are looking after their clients, and Russian oligarchs who've got money in and out of the system. We have Saudi money after trying to fund some tech companies. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And of course we have the incumbent Labour politicians and a former charismatic Prime Minister called Johnny Todd, who has now been replaced by a more dour Prime Minister called Tudor. And, we all know who that is. So there's a lot going on. We've even got, assistant ACCs from the Metropolitan Police involved. And it turns out a lot of these people were friends and part of a society going back to their Oxbridge days. So there's a whole bunch of people involved in this whole, market crash scenario, or impending market crash scenario. And Gil's trying to get to the bottom of it. So that's the plot, if you will. I enjoyed it. It's a nice tight political thriller, 383 pages. Not too much. I read it in 2 sessions. I give the book 7 out of 10. I realise that there are parts of this book that not everybody will like. There are parts that deal with technical matters such as CDOs, subprime mortgages, credit default swaps, and all that. So not everybody's cup of tea, but it is well written, and clearly the author knows his stuff. A nice, fast-moving story. Again, give it 7 out of 10. I'd recommend it. Good read. So that's it for this week's brief book review. Thanks for watching. 10:10 till we do it again. Thanks.